What's up guys, today we're trying to make a game in one day and publish it to the Google Play and App Store. And to make it a bit more exciting, we also will see if we can make some money with the game.
Now it's 9:35, so let's start.
But first we need to make a game. And as we only have one day to finish the game, we need to make something pretty simple. So we'll make an endless runner where you control a character with a gun and there will be obstacles which you need to destroy in order to pass through.
I start by creating a blockout for the character in Blender to get a rough idea of the shape of the model. So I duplicate a simple cube a few times and change the scale to create the base and a gun with some basic details. And now it should look somehow like a tiny tank. And we want to have a pixel boxer or block style for the game, but it's the first time that we make a game in this style, so I hope it will look good.
At the same time, I'm working on the character movement and I started simple by updating the transform position, but we want to detect obstacles, so if we just set our transform, we will not directly interact with the obstacles or other objects. So we could use raycasts, which are like laser pointers shooting in every direction, or rigid body, which enables physics in Unity, but we will just use a character controller. I set up the camera movement, but for now our character disappears while moving, and after fixing that, now we fail when we hit into something. By the way, this menu is just a placeholder that I reused from some previous prototypes. So now it's time to create our shooting mechanic. We want to make sure the game runs smoothly, and that's why we use object pooling. So how does it work? At the start, we spawn a bunch of bullets and store them inside the pool. They are waiting but not active, and when the player shoots, we select a bullet from our pool and make it visible. After the bullet has done its job, like hitting a target, it's made invisible again and put back into the pool to be used again later. This is a very simple way to improve performance. So we passed like 1 hour, a bit more, and now we are ready to destroy the obstacles, but of course nothing happened. So let's create a little script and also display the health of our obstacle. But at the moment we get no feedback, so to make it a bit more juicy we need our obstacles.
At the same time, I kept working on the character, giving it more shape and more details, so after 1 hour I have almost the character done, but the texture is still missing. So first I import the grayscale palette into Blender. This makes it easier to adjust the colors in Unity later. Then I paint some squares at random position of the model to make it fit more into the style of the game. I add one last detail to the character and now it looks like this. But when I import it into Unity, I noticed that the texture doesn't look good because when creating pixel textures, you usually make them in a low resolution. I upload it to laspec.com to upscale it, but we are still only seeing black and white. Let's add some colors to our character. I'm just trying out some different combinations and I actually like this one. And for the obstacle, just take this.
So now we have this kind of voxels and we want to have some sort of explosion or destruction effect. So we could use physics by adding rigid bodies and collider, but we have like 3 to 500s on each obstacle and this will definitely not run smooth on mobile. So for better performance, we use particles instead. As this particle looks pretty juicy, let's also create a particle for our bullets, and to save time, we just duplicate and modify it a little bit. But this looks not juicy enough, so let's add a little wobble effect. 12 o'clock, time to get some food. We have some chicken prepared from the last day and we'll make some wraps. It's pretty fast to prepare and also tastes amazing, and after a short coffee break, we're ready to kick in again. Anyway, let's get back to our obstacles. We'll earn some coins when we destroy them, which we then can use to upgrade our shooting speed. So we add our placeholder buttons for our upgrade system, and to know how much coins you earn per round, I add a game over screen with the multiplier coin option, but more on that in a sec. But we want the game to be somehow endless. So we create an obstacle spawner script which spawns and despawns obstacles based on the player's position, where we again use our pooling system. We also have some checkpoints now which you need to pass, and everything took a bit longer than expected. And now it's like 4 p.m. and I have to say, pressure is getting high. I mean, the game's almost done, but I feel like we are at the same position as I've been like before the lunch break. To even increase the pressure more, let's make a little tea break. And after getting back, I actually have to say the game's almost done. That's it. I mean, the game looks like but so now we need Roxy to save this thing.
To make the environment, I create some basic trees, flowers and grass, and also texture them. This time I directly add the colors inside of Blender, but after importing everything into Unity, I still need to adjust them a little bit to make everything fit better together. And to make everything match better with the look of our character, I also create the texture for the ground and the road. But we want to make the game look a bit more colorful, so I select a few different color combinations for the obstacles. I also create some UI in pixel style, but we basically only need a few buttons.
So now let's bring this all together, improve our obstacle distraction particles a little bit, and also change the placeholder UI for our upgrade system and game over screen, and replace our font. We also create a particle to simulate the destruction of our player when we crash into an obstacle. And to make it less sticky, we also create a little animation to our character and some effects to our guns.
For better performance, we will not render any shadows of the voxel, but render only shadows of one simple cube. And to reduce stroke calls, what also improves performance, we have a unified mesh of our obstacle, which will be replaced by the detailed voxel version once a ballot hits the obstacle.
We also have rewarded ads for X4 coins multiplier at the end of each round, interstitial ads, and an option to buy ads free for 99 cents. So the game is ready.
Yeah.
As I said, the game is done. We are finished. We could upload it to the App Store and Google Play. Now it's 11:24. So there is time to upload it, but we would like to balance it a bit more and
add some sounds.
So as you can see, the game is actually done, but we wanted to finish the game and also upload it to the stores in one working day. So technically we need to upload the game now or we are disqualified. But also the day has 24 hours and we make somehow the rules, and we work like 12 hours or a bit more, I don't know, on the game. So there's still time left. So the next day we balanced the difficulty and upgrade system a little bit. We also added some sounds and polished a few things. We created a little animation to give some feedback when you pass the checkpoints. Now we can push the game to the stores, so you can download it.
But first we need to prepare the App Store and Google Play, and after adding the screenshots and a short description, it's time to wait until the game is live.
Which brings us to our third step. See if we can make some money with the game. So we will create an ad campaign and first spend some money to hopefully get some people to download and play our game. We'll also take a look at the KPIs or key performance indicators, which are first the cost per installation or CPI, which is basically the money spent on ads divided by amount of downloads we get. Second, the playtime, and third, the retention, meaning how many % of the users are coming back the next days. And this will give us an understanding of the potential of our game and helps us to predict the LTV or lifetime value, meaning how much money will one download generate on average. And of course, if our LTV, the money we earn, is bigger than the CPI, the money we spend, the game is profitable, meaning the game makes money. And this is actually a really common approach in mobile game development. You first develop a prototype, then you test it, and then you check the results. And you make decisions based on the results. If you have good KPIs, you keep working on the game, iterating. And if you have bad KPIs, you just kill the game and move on. Because you really want to have a good core loop of your game, the loop that players play over and over again. And only if you have a strong loop, it makes sense to add more features like more levels, more systems, skins, cosmetics, and all these meta features. Of course, there are different approaches. For example, if you have some playtesters or a community that plays your games, so make sure to subscribe. You can make different decisions. You can make decisions based on the players' feedback. Let's check the results. Well, first we need to wait a few days. For those of you only waiting for the numbers, we made minus $125. Bye. But let me explain it a little bit. We spent almost $150 on user acquisition. First of all, let's check the revenue. We only have in-app purchases in iOS, which generates a total income of $5. With the ads, we earned a total of $8.70, where $5.80 are from iOS and $2.80 from Android. Now let's quickly take a look at the KPIs. On iOS, US, we have a CPI of $1.30, and on Android worldwide, we have a CPI of 3 cents. The main reason why the CPI differs that much is because the cost per mil, like how much you get charged, how much you have to spend to get your ad 1,000 times seen, is higher in tier 1 countries like the US as compared to tier 3 countries. But you earn more with users from tier 1 countries, so the cost per mil, the CPM inside of your game, is also higher. Now if we look at the playtime, we see 18 minutes in iOS, 14 minutes on Android. For the retention, we see 33 day 1 on iOS and 17 on Android. Looking at the LTV, on iOS we have a LTV of 18 cents and on Android 0.2 cents. That's less than 1 cent. And how do we interpret the results now? Well, financially it's a clear fail. Looking at the KPIs, they are not completely horrible. For a good game, you usually want to see some day 1 retention of 35 to 40 and a playtime of 30-40 minutes in the first prototype. This means that your core loop is strong enough so you can keep working on the game, improving the game. Well, of course, it depends a little bit on the CPI. The higher the CPI, the better your game needs to be. But does the result surprise us? Well, actually not. While it is possible to make a good game a massive hit in a short development time, I mean, look at Flappy Bird, it's probably the best example. In general, if you make a game, even a fast prototype, you will invest weeks or even months to iterate on the game, to A/B test the game and all the stuff which comes before the global launch. And also the game in the video was not really innovative. We actually made a pretty similar game in early 2020, so you also want to make sure to have an innovative idea when you make a game. This video or the game was more of an experiment to show you how mobile game development could work. And I mean, we tested over 80 games in the last 5 or almost 5 years, and none of them were big hits. It would have been more surprising if this game would have been a huge success. But remember always to fail fast and to fail forward, and to take your lessons and learnings out of every failed prototype, out of every failed project, and you will always win. Anyway, we already have an idea for our next game where we will invest a bit more time than just one day, so make sure to subscribe. And also, if you want to support us, download some of our games. The links are in the description. And if you like the video, make sure to hit the like button, and if not, well, at least you watch until the end. Ciao.